Trump pleaded not guilty today to the charges brought against him by Fulton County District Attorney Fani Willis there in Georgia. He also opted to waive his arraignment. This comes just 1 week after he surrendered at the Fulton County Jail there in Georgia and released what has become now one of the most iconic mugshots in history. This as now District Attorney Fani Willis attempts even more election interference. She's now proposing a trial date for Trump and his co-defendants on October 23rd of this year. Meanwhile, it took her 2.5 years to bring this indictment, and it could potentially be televised and live streamed for all to see. Lots going on, but we've got just the right person to talk about it. She doesn't hold back. Legal spokeswoman and general counsel of Save America PAC, Alina Habba. Thank you so much for being with us, Alina.
Of course, anytime. How are you?
I'm doing well, and I know Trump is doing even better. Let's take a look at an updated schedule of key dates for Trump in yellow, election events in blue. I mean, look at this. I mean, how can you not deny that this is political persecution, election interference at the highest level? They're clearly doing everything they can to cloud and conflict Trump's schedule with trial dates. What can be done about this?
There's a lot to be done. Remember, this is the first dates. Some cases we've asked, just in the one case, we've asked for an adjournment of the dates. But we can't deny by looking at that calendar and that insane schedule that these are cases that have been going on and investigated for years. But somehow the grand jury was rushed on all of these cases to indict President Trump because he's leading in the polls and they really can't stop him without it. So what will we do? We will file the appropriate motions. Obviously, I'm not going to give the other side any window into our strategy, but we have clear division. We have clear judges, AGs, DAs that have political motivation. They've said it before they even came on the bench. They've said it before they even indicted, before they had the grand jury even convened. And they did it all for their own politics and campaigning or their political sides. And it's un-American, and we'll take steps towards stopping that.
Do you think it's a coincidence that you're seeing in a lot of polls that in a hypothetical matchup, Trump versus Biden, that Trump beats Biden? I mean, we're talking about an electoral landslide in some polls. This is not a coincidence, right?
It's not a coincidence. And I think if you look at our country, I think it speaks for itself. You've seen a lot of the minority vote come out right now, and they're really feeling for President Trump and all these legal battles and seeing how he is being prosecuted and persecuted. And they are saying, hey, I can't have this. This could happen to me. Georgia, they're looking at their state. They're looking at their city, their town. And they're saying this is a woman who isn't getting crime off the streets. Letitia James, DA Bragg, New York. Crime is rampant. We've got our borders open. And what do we see? Them persecuting a man who created jobs in Manhattan, who was a self-made person, who wasn't bought by any political party or any political avenue or frankly, anything, because he's his own man. And that's why they're coming at him. They don't really have any other venue to do it. So now we're seeing what I call political lawfare. We've heard it a lot in the past month, but that is what this is. It's not warfare. It's using the law in an inappropriate manner to further political gain because they cannot beat him.
And I remember, I'm old enough to remember that when the 9/11 terror attacks happened, Trump raced down to ground zero. He used his own money to help pay for recovery efforts. He was a hero. He was a hero to America, to New York, until he came down that escalator in 2015 and decided to run for president as a Republican. All of a sudden, now he's become persona non grata.
That's right. That's right. And he will be a hero again. And that's the truth, because when you look at the way our country is falling apart at this moment and what we've done and what I see him doing, you know, last night he was with families who lost, unfortunately, victims because of the way that we left Afghanistan. And you see it and you say, my God, we can't even exit a country without losing so many things. And this man is now being politically and literally legally prosecuted and persecuted for library books, for accounting things in a company that weren't even done inappropriately. And I can't even articulate what Georgia's is. For him protecting the Constitution and our democracy, I don't know. But they hate him and they're so afraid of him. And that's because if he gets back, when he gets back, they will be in trouble.
Absolutely. I mean, free speech, right? What he did in Georgia is what so many Democrats, Stacey Abrams, Hillary Clinton, you name it, have done before him. And meantime, you have the Georgia governor, Brian Kemp. He isn't standing on the right side of the world at this point, of the aisle. Forget about the aisle. The governor spoke today rejecting GOP pressures to remove that DA. Clearly, she has an agenda. She even put out a website to try to fundraise off of this. But take a listen to Kemp.
Up to this point, I have not seen any evidence that D.A. Willis's actions or lack thereof warrant action by the Prosecuting Attorney Oversight Commission. But that will ultimately be a decision that the commission will make.
Alina, what do you make of these Republicans that are not standing on the right side of history and that they're going against Trump?
I don't care who you want to stand behind. Honestly, that's not where I stand. I'm a lawyer and I speak as a legal spokesperson. So for me, I see this in a very different perspective. I'm not a politician, but these are individuals who have a duty to their constituents. And if you're going to wait years and years and years and then prosecute someone when your own state has crimes and real issues, I think you really need to evaluate your position, your morals, and your values. And I think that they're trying to make a name for themselves. Unfortunately, politicians are, elected officials. Elected officials have to do what's popular and sometimes not what's right. And that's a problem. That's, I think, why people get nervous with Trump. He doesn't do what's popular or what's right. Or what I should say he only does what's right. He doesn't do what's popular. And you've got somebody like Kemp trying to make a name for himself. And he frankly has. He's made headlines because he's going against the leading candidate for the Republican Party and, frankly, the leading presidential candidate, period.
Absolutely. Alina Habba, always with the fire. Thank you so much for being with us this evening.
Thanks, Lydia.